Welcome everybody to Intensity Broadcasting. My name's Josh Hall. This is the Doghouse Racing League Tuesday night Gen 4 series brought to you by Trackside NASCAR Outlet here from Kansas Speedway, getting ready for race number 13. And it's going to be a great one here. Kansas always puts on a great show. We saw that in the Cup Series in real life this past week. Can't wait to see the same thing here tonight. Got just a few more minutes left here in practice, about 3 minutes here. Let's take a look at the points coming into tonight. See Jonathan Jennings up at the top of the leaderboard. Currently 114 points ahead of second place Christopher Simon. Third place we find Just McMahon and Chris Leftwich and Steve Gerber are rounding out the top five. We'll leave this up on the screen though so you can see who your favorite driver is currently in the point standings. Of course, just a few more races to go next week. We're going to head over to Charlotte Motor Speedway. We'll have a week off for the holiday. Then the final two races of the season. So can anybody cut into Jonathan Jennings' lead here into the closing races of the season? See Mark Dumont on the racetrack running that high side. A little further back, you see Eric Warman working through the traffic as well. As we have just a few more minutes left here in practice. Last week we saw Jonathan Jennings dominate at Dover. Currently at the top of the leaderboard. Quite a bit faster than second place Jamie Horn, about 0.3 of a second. We'll have to see if anybody's able to find something here in the race. Of course, these tracks do rubber up quite a bit and change throughout the run. Kansas is a very unique racetrack. Run right up against the wall. A lot of people like to run the high side here at Kansas, but you can run the low lane. However, it does burn your tires off a little bit quicker down on the bottom. So I expect to see most drivers running that top lane. As I say, that Jonathan Jennings moves right down to the white line. I think he's going to practice a pit stop here. So, yep, he's going to come drop down on the pit road. So you can see Jamie Horn now using that higher lane as he comes down through the tri-oval and into turn number one. He's going to stay right up against the wall. Of course, this track gets very racy. You can see some 2 and 3 wide racing here. So we have 20 drivers getting ready to take the green flag here at Kansas Motor Speedway. Gary, I want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, on Kick, or on Twitch. We've got the chat open. So let us know who you're rooting for here tonight. Can't forget about our great partners that make this happen, including our series sponsor, Trackside NASCAR Outlet. Trackside NASCAR Outlet is an authorized Lionel dealer with full line of diecast, including Cup, Xfinity, Truck, driver apparel, hats, and jackets. Trackside NASCAR Outlet offers everything NASCAR, including full-size and mini helmets, flags, and coolers. Stop by and check out their store, follow them on Facebook, or check out their website at tracksidenascaroutlet.com. Of course, links are down below in the description. Can't forget about our great partner over here at Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker is an established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. Check out the full line of Butt Kicker products and figure out what's right for you. Visit thebuttkicker.com. Of course, our website over at intensityracing.com. If you're a small-time race team looking for some swag, or you want to pick up some of Atlee Atman Weiss's racing gear, who's having a fantastic season, just followed up his win a couple weeks ago with a second-place finish down at Langley. Check out all that at intensityracing.com, or get a quote today if you're looking for some swag yourself. Our first drivers making their way out onto the racetrack. This is the 21 of Christopher Simon. Simon, another one of those drivers running right up against the high side here. Coming down the backstretch towards turn number 3. Right up against that outside wall. Now pull it down here off of turn number 4. Use that apron, get as low as he can right down to the grass. And Simon's going to jump up to the top of the leaderboard currently. Jonathan Jennings just goes P1 with a 30.43. It's going to be what driver can use that high lane to their advantage. Stay right up against that outside wall. As Jennings almost gets up into the outside wall, able to pull it down and across the stripe. And Jennings is going to go a little slower on his second lap. Runs a 30.46. Christopher Simon ran a 30.47. Here comes Daniel Wilkerson down across the stripe. And Wilkerson's going to move up into the 4th position. As BJ Hall in the 199, no relation, goes 5th quickest. Here's the 8 of Steve Gerber. Using that low lane here through turns 3 and 4. Gerber's going to move up into the 7th position. John Smith just coming down across the stripe. As Chris Leftwich goes 4th quickest on his first lap. John Smith going to stay in that 10th position. Here's the 13 of Chris Leftwich. Oh, really sideways off the corner, but able to hold on to it. And get as much speed out of that 13 machine as he can. See him sliding that car through the corner. Down to the stripe. Jamie Horn goes 3rd fastest. Leftwich goes 4th quickest. And with about a minute and a half left, here's the 117 of Richard Leclerc. Oh, Leclerc gets real loose there off of turn at number 2. Hangs on to it, though, so that's going to kill his first lap, but he's going to have one more after. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is his second lap. So, unfortunately, it's going to kill this lap here. He's going to come down to the stripe. And Leclerc is going to gain 1 spot up into the 14th position. 4 drivers yet to qualify. Not sure if they will. That's going to be Chuck Cobb, Bill Gentry, Ricky Hudges, and Eric Warman. As we get ready, pretty much going to finish up qualifying now with about 30 seconds left. So last week we saw domination out of Jonathan Jennings. Will we see the same thing here tonight? As time expires here on the clock. And we get ready to take a look at our starting grid. On pole here tonight, the 25 of Jonathan Jennings. Christopher Simon going to start from P2. Jamie Horn rolls off in the 3rd spot with Chris Leftwich back in 4th. Ken Byers and Daniel Wilkerson will make up row number 3. BJ Hall in the 199. He'll roll off from the 7th spot with Jason Ross is outside in the 00. Then Steve Gerber and Stephen Bonomo will round out your top 10. John Smith rolls off from 11th with Mike Leftwich in the 12th spot. 13th will be Justin McMahon with Richard Leclerc back in 14th. Mark Dumont, Kevin Brown Back in row number 8, Eric Warman, Ricky Hudges back in row 9, and rounding out the field will be the 81 of Chuck Cobb and the 4 of Bill Gentry. As the drivers are just making their way out onto the grid. Remember, there will be a stage, not a break, but a stage at lap 40, so halfway. Stage points will be awarded to the top 10. As the field gets ready to roll off, and we get ready to do battle for 80 laps here at Kansas Speedway. Again, we want to thank all of our great partners here that make this possible. Trackside NASCAR Outlet, your series sponsor. Visit them at the link down below at Trackside NASCAR Outlet.com. Of course, don't forget to check out the Butt Kicker as well as our website over at IntensityRacing.com. Looks like Jonathan Jennings is going to choose the high side on this start. As leader will always have choice of lane. Just gonna put Christopher Simon down on the bottom. I know Simon likes that low side as well, so see if he's able to make anything happen here at the start of this race. As they come down to the starting zone, pace car takes that hard left-hand turn down onto pit road. The green flag flies, and we are racing here at Kansas. Saw Simon down on that low side as a 13. And Chris Leftwich thought about making it 3 wide for a second. They almost do go 3 wide as the 99 of Ken Byers gets in there, and ooh, BJ Holland gets really loose off of turn number 2, able to hang on to it. Even the sideways there, gaining a position as Jamie Horn makes his way around Christopher Simon and up into the 2nd position. Jamie Horn trying to find his way to the back bumper of that 25 machine. Meanwhile, right behind we see Chris Leftwich and Ken Byers side by side. They make their way off of turn number 4, and Byers going to slide in between Chris Leftwich and Christopher Simon. And now Leftwich is going to dive down to the low lane, try to take that position back. Side by side racing for the 4th position. Simon with that position down there, trying to make something happen. Meanwhile, a little further back, it's a bee's nest back here. See a little side-by-side action between Jason Ross and Steve Gerber as Ross is going to move right ahead of that 8 machine. Justin McMahon doing battle side-by-side with John Smith. McMahon already up 10 spots into the, 3 spots up into the 10th position. Leftwich still doing battle here as he's able to get around. Or I'm sorry, Chris Simon and Chris Leftwich doing battle here. As now Byers tries to look down to the inside of Simon, but not close enough to make that happen. Meanwhile, Daniel Wilkerson trying to make a move here on the 0-0 of Jason Ross. As they go 3 wide through the front stretch. Steve Gerber on the bottom going down to the apron, but not able to complete that pass, and he's going to be side by side with John Smith. Meanwhile, Daniel Wilkerson and Justin McMahon side by side, as McMahon just barely brushes the wall. And Byers continues to run side by side with Christopher Simon. Jamie Horn down on pit road. And it looks like he made heavy contact with that outside wall. Trying to battle with Jonathan Jennings. So Jennings now out to almost a 2-second lead over second place Chris Leftwich. Meanwhile, this gaggle continues the battle. And Stephen Bonomo takes a look down to the inside of Steve Gerber. We got a battle heating up for the second position as Ken Byers was taking a look down underneath Chris Leftwich. Was not able to make that move, loses a ton of time, falls back to the clutches of Christopher Simon. Ooh, Simon gets up into the outside wall, gets really sideways for a second, but able to hold on to it, but loses a ton of ground to Byers. Steve Gerber trying to work the high side here of Daniel Wilkerson. Nuno taking a look to the inside, and then we see Daniel Wilkerson trying to make a move on John Smith for the 8th position. Great battles continue all around the racetrack. Side-by-side action here between Mark Dumont and Ricky Hudges. Hudges the 3 on the screen, 175 on the scoring pylon. Ooh, look, almost some contact there between Steve Gerber and Stephen Bonomo as Gerber tries to make the pass on the 9 machine. Now Bonomo fires off on that high side to retake that position. Sets his sight on Daniel Wilkerson. Right behind you see Mark Dumont, Eric Warman, and Steve Gerber all battling for position back here. Great battles all over the racetrack. Meanwhile, back up front, Christopher Simon and Christopher Leftwich doing battle as Simon able to get around the 13 of Leftwich. Now Jason Ross going to look to the outside of Daniel Wilkerson. He's going to try to tow Stephen Bonomo right along as well. Simon now pulling away from Chris Leftwich as Eric Warman, Daniel Wilkerson battle side by side. Bonomo in tow as well. You see the 175 or 3 there of Ricky Hudges pulled away from this battle as well. Justin McMahon up into the outside wall again in that T-Rex machine. That lets Jason Ross on by. Here comes the 23 of John Smith down to the inside. We got one driver who says he's going to come down on the pit road. Not sure who that was who's going to be pitting. Looks like BJ Hall coming down pit road. As the caution is out. I'm trying to see if we can see what happened here. We'll bring up the wreckage rewind. Well, found the caution. Happened here between Daniel Wilkerson and the 14 of Mark Dumont. Dumont looked like he was trying to dive down underneath Bonomo. Didn't realize that Wilkerson was right there. Those two come together, and fortunately, Dumont was able to hold on to it. So no harm, no foul, as the entire field is going to make their way down pit road, led by Jonathan Jennings. Ken Byers in the second position. As pit road becomes a busy, busy place here. Jennings going to make his way off pit road first. Ken Byers in second. Chris Simon, Chris Leftwich, and Jason Ross, your top 5. Chris Leftwich being shown as the leader, but he did not come down pit road yet. So halfway through the stage, about a quarter of the way through the race, Jonathan Jennings sits back in second with Chris Leftwich in the top spot. He's going to choose the inside lane on this restart. We saw BJ Hall making his way around the pace car to get one of his laps back. Actually, that'll put him back on the lead lap. So all 20 cars back on the lead lap. As Mike Leftwich is going to lead him back down to the Geico restart zone. As the pace car gets ready to take that hard left-hand turn down on the pit road, Mike Leftwich going to lead him back down to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. Ooh, a little wheel spin out of Mike Leftwich. He's going to get sandwiched here across the line as Jennings moves up to the high side. Byers down to the low side, down into turn number 1. And Ken Byers is going to take the lead away from Jonathan Jennings. Jennings, though, you can see that speed he carries up on that high side. They're going to go side by side down the backstretch towards turn number 3. Byers with that inside lane, but Jennings with that preferred high lane as they come off of turn number 4. And oh, we got a big wreck in the back. Jason Ross and looks like the 8 of Steve Gerber go for a ride through the grass. That's going to bring up our second wreckage rewind of the night. So a little bit of 3-wide racing here. We saw Mike Leftwich struggling here on the start. Up on the high side, up against the wall. And looks like Ross wasn't really expecting to be 3-wide there. Gerber comes up. A little bit of 3 drivers trying to take over the same piece of real estate. Just one of those racing deals. Everybody survives, though, without damage. So I'll see Steve Gerber's got a little bit of damage to that left front. But we come to complete lap number 25 of 80. We're going to go one more lap till we go green. 4 drivers on pit road. We see Jamie Horn coming off pit road, Mike Leftwich, Jason Ross, and Steve Gerber. I'll get some damage fixed. And Jonathan Jennings says he's going to take the outside here on this restart. And next week, we'll move on to Charlotte Motor Speedway for 80 laps there. Then we'll have a week off for Memorial Day. And our final 2 races at Michigan and Nashville Super Speedway. So lights on, the pace car will shut off here. The field gets doubled up here, going into turn number 1. So pace car going to pull onto pit road this time by Jennings, choosing the high lane. It's going to put Ken Byers down on the low side. Row 2 is going to be the Christopher Simon and Chris Leftwich. Then Eric Warman and Ricky Hudges back in the third row as the green flag gets ready to fly. We are back racing with a big jump. Jonathan Jennings, Byers tried to time it, misjudged it, and loses 2 spots in the process. Now Simon up into that second position. Here comes Byers up on the high side, trying to make something happen. Byers still trying to use that high lane, which we know is the faster lane. As they run side by side, it's just going to allow Jonathan Jennings to pull right away. Here comes Byers again with a big run. No, he's not going to have the run there up on that high side like I thought he was going to. Meanwhile, Kevin Brown right there on the back bumper of Stephen Bonomo. Back up front, we saw a big shove there. Christopher Simon. Bonomo taking a look down to the inside of Eric Warman, but Warman able to stay up ahead of that 9 car for now as they make their way down through turns 3 and 4. They are about 8 laps away from our stage. Here comes Jamie Horton looking down to the inside of Bonomo. After making heavy contact with the wall earlier, finds his way getting that damage fixed and working his way back up through the field. With 3 wide racing as Horn pushes it down on the low side. Bonomo up on the high side. Eric Warman, the meat in the sandwich. They're going to be clear off of turn number 2. Down into turn number 3, some great racing there. We'll make that work. As Jamie Horn now makes his way to the inside of the 81 of Chuck Cobb. Chuck Cobb having a great run up into the 7th position here. Just continuing to have a good run. He's got Eric Warman right behind him trying to make something happen. Cobb's going to have that high lane advantage coming down through the trial. Warman takes a look down to the inside, not able to make that happen, losing momentum. And now let's see Bonomo to close up right onto the back bumper of that 31 machine. Now Eric Warman's going to take another look down to the inside of Chuck Cobb. Now Steven Bonomo's going to try to follow Eric Warman through. As you see Kevin Brown right there in the mix, along with the 24 of Justin McMahon. Again, this being the Hornet's Nest here back in the middle of the pack. As we are still about 3.5 laps away from our halfway stage. McMahon and Steven Bonomo down the backstretch. McMahon trying to use that high lane. Bonomo drives it in real deep. He's going to drive it underneath Kevin Brown. Tries a bit of a slide job. Has to get out of it. Ooh, McMahon hard into the outside wall. They're going to go 3 wide. Back to 2 wide as they come down the front stretch. It's pretty heavy contact there for the 24 of McMahon. Not sure if he's got any damage off of that as these drivers continue to slip slide around this Kansas track. As Kevin Brown looking up to the high side, Steven Gerber. Brown going to be in that 11th position. Meanwhile, up front, Jonathan Jennings in the lead. He's got a 0.2 second lead over Ken Byers. And Christopher Simon hanging in tough right there as well, sits back in the 3rd position as this is the last lap of the stage. Jennings going to come down across the stripe and win the stage. Ken Byers in 2nd, Christopher Simon 3rd, Chris Leftwich 4th, Ricky Hudges in 5th, Jamie Horn 6th, Eric Warman in 7th, Chuck Cobb, Justin McMahon, and Steven Bonomo, your top 10 in the stage. More 3-wide racing back here in the back. As Gerber runs up on that high side, here comes the 14 of Mark Dumont trying to push his way through here. Kevin Brown was the meat and sandwich for a moment. Mark Dumont and Jason Ross go side by side. Ross down on the low side trying to take that spot away, but here comes Dumont with a great run up on that high lane. See this battle continuing here. Between Jason Ross and Kevin Brown. And oh, almost some contact there between Ross and Brown. As we see right in front, Chuck Cobb got a little bit loose. Meanwhile, up front, Christopher Simon has gotten around Ken Byers. This was for the second position. Here's how that pass was made. Oh, Byers got up into the outside wall. And that's what allowed Simon to get right on by. So Jamie Horn, Ricky Hudges battling it out here for the 5th position. Eric Warman right in this mix as well. Big wiggle out of Hudges off of turn number 2. As now Warman going to get around Hudges. He's going to set his sights on the 98 of Jamie Horn. Hudges down on that low side yet again. I thought they were going to run single file for a moment, but here comes Warman looking down to the inside of Jamie Horn. Plus, don't forget, these drivers will have to pit one more time. As next time we come by the stripe, we'll have just 30 laps to go. Warman with the big move down to the inside. Jamie Horn up on the high side. Here it comes. Hudges trying to make it 3 wide for a moment. Thought better of it. As Warman almost washes up the track a little bit. Had to back out of it. Tries to get around Jamie Horn. Horn just barely touches the wall. That's the momentum break that Warman needs. And Eric Warman's going to move himself up into the 5th position. Our biggest move, well, one of our biggest movers of the race is up 12 positions. Right behind him, Ricky Hudges also up 12 positions as he was able to get around Jamie Horn as well. And now Hudges trying to take a look down to the inside of Eric Warman. Got our first driver making his way down onto pit road. That is going to be the 81. Actually, more drivers are on pit road. We see Kevin Brown, Bill Gentry. Ken Byers just pitted from the 3rd position. Chuck Cobb pitting as well. Sounds like the 175 of Ricky Hudges will be coming this time by, as well as the 13 of Chris Lethbridge, Jonathan Jennings, Christopher Simon on pit road as well. That's going to give the lead of the race to the 31 of Eric Warman. These drivers know they can make it to the end of the race. As John Smith and Mark Dumont going to battle it out here for what is the 3rd position on track. Goes Eric Warman on the pit road. Here comes Daniel Wilkerson with heavy damage to the front end of that 28. Going to come down on the pit road this time as well. See Mark Dumont right in front of him. That's going to give the lead of the race to Jamie Horn. It makes me wonder if anybody's going to try to stretch it as far as they can. Here comes Horn on the pit road. That's going to leave John Smith to pick up the lead here as they come off of turn number 4. Here comes Jennings around Smith. Get himself back on the lead lap. You see Christopher Simon and Ken Byers going around as well, as here comes Smith down on the pit road. That's going to put BJ Hall next in line. Take over the lead of this race with just 24 laps to go. So BJ Hall, Mike Leftwich, the only 2 drivers on the racetrack who have not pit yet. As BJ Hall's going to get split here by Horn and Warman. Sketchy moment there for the leader. As you can see just how much faster these fresh tires are. As BJ Hall's going to stay down on the low side. Allow Steve Gerber to pass. Here comes Kevin Brown, who's going to pass up on that high side next. I imagine BJ is going to make his way down on the pit road pretty soon. Mike Leftwich just pit. And there goes BJ Hall down on the pit road. Going to give the lead of the race back to the 25 of Jonathan Jennings. Chris Simon and Ken Byers in tow, though. Ken Byers just starting to make up a little bit of time on Christopher Simon. Take a look at the lap times here, and Byers has been just a little bit quicker than Simon. 4 out of the last 5 laps. If Byers is able to get around Simon, will he have enough? Or will he have anything here for Jonathan Jennings? There's Byers trying to make a move down to the inside, but just not close enough to make that stick. Byers lose a little bit of time there to Simon, as we have just 18 laps to go. You know, there's really no other battles out on the racetrack. Steve Manomo is trying to run down Daniel Wilkerson back in the 13th position, but the heat is all up on our leaders right now. Now we see Christopher Simon starting to run a few faster laps here than Ken Byers. But when it comes to Jonathan Jennings just putting down some laps here, although not that much quicker than Simon, except for lap number 61. And that time by, Simon was just a little bit quicker than Jonathan Jennings. So with 16 laps to go, can Christopher Simon eat into that half-second lead and try to challenge Jonathan Jennings for the win here? Just 15 laps to go. Got 14 laps to go as Jennings' lead is now just under a half a second. Again, Christopher Simon starting to eat into that lead just a little bit. Again, Simon 5/10 quicker on that lap. So coming to 11 laps to go. You see Jennings now starting to turn the heat on. Starting to pull back away from Christopher Simon. Simon, though, pulling way ahead of Ken Byers. Really no other action out on the racetrack as things have really started to spread out around the racetrack here. Only three drivers really together is the Kevin Brown, John Smith, and Jason Ross machines. That's the closest battle on the racetrack with 10 laps to go. John Smith taking a look down to the inside to come down the backstretch. And Smith's going to move himself up into the 9th position. Smith right now putting the afterburners on. He's one of the fastest cars out on the racetrack. Only driver faster than Smith right now is our leader, Jonathan Jennings, who's now starting to pull back away from Christopher Simon. Jennings down across the stripe. That'll make it 7 laps to go. As now lap traffic is starting to come into play here. As Jennings able to get down and around 117 of Richard Leclerc. More battling going back here as Jason Ross has caught Kevin Brown. See the damage to the left front there of Brown. Looks like he's been involved in some contact. As Jason Ross moves around and into the top 10. Jennings' lead starting to fall off again as Christopher Simon starting to turn the jets back on here. But we are coming to 5 laps to go. Don't think Christopher Simon's going to be able to catch him unless something dramatic happens to that 25 machine. Down into turn number 3. Jennings' lead now just over 3/4 of a second. But they are coming up on another lap car. That is the 199 of BJ Hall. Four to go. So they come down the backstretch. 3.5 to go. And Simon starting to make some ground up. And you see that lap time. Let's see what the... Oh, Jennings having some issues. So does Simon. Both drivers up into the outside wall. 3 laps to go. Simon's still a little bit quicker, and Jennings was fighting the wheel of that 25 machine as they came off of turn number 4. Jennings almost threw it away there for a moment as he's running that high lane. Trying to hold on to that car, and yeah, he's working that wheel inside as they come to 2 laps to go. Jamie Horn trying to look down to the inside of Chris Leftwich to take over the 4th position. That's all eyes up front as Jonathan Jennings tries to hold on to that top spot. Comes off of turn at number 4. We'll have just 1 more lap to go. White flag is in the air. Christopher Simon 3/4 of a second back. But it ain't over yet. We saw some struggles out of Jonathan Jennings. Simon closes the gap just a little bit down into turn at number 3. But doesn't look like it's going to be enough as Jonathan Jennings is going to come off of turn at number 4. And he is going to win here at Kansas to make it 4 in a row for the 25 machine. Christopher Simon going to bring it home P2. Ken Byers in 3rd. Chris Leftwich and Eric Warman round out your top 5. But tonight, how about it for Jonathan Jennings getting it done? Things got sketchy there in the final couple laps. Able to get it done and get the win here from Kansas Motor Speedway. Jennings going to come down, celebrate his win, burn him out here, down in the tri-oval. Christopher Simon comes sliding in as well. Or no, I'm sorry, Chris Leftwich comes sliding in as well. Jennings does his traditional burnout down the front stretch. Mike Leftwich gets in the action with a little victory slam there. As we get ready to take a look at our final results. And again, Jonathan Jennings getting the win. Christopher Simon second. Ken Byers in third. Chris Leftwich and Eric Warman your top five. Justin McMahon rebounds for a sixth place finish. Stephen Gerber back in seventh. John Smith, Jason Ross, and Mark Dumont your top 10. Daniel Wilkerson comes home in 11th. 12th was Kevin Brown. Chuck Cobb in 13th. Stephen Bonomo back in the fourth position. BJ Hall comes home 15th. Richard Leclerc, Mike Leftwich, Jamie Horn, Ricky Hudges, and Bill Gentry round out the field here tonight from Kansas Motor Speedway. Of course, before we get ready to talk to our top three, one more time, I want to thank all of our great partners here that make this possible, including Trackside NASCAR Outlet. Trackside NASCAR Outlet is an authorized Lionel dealer with a full line of diecast, including cup, Xfinity, truck, driver apparel, hats, and jackets. Trackside NASCAR Outlet offers everything NASCAR, including full-size and mini helmets, flags, and coolers. Stop by and check out their store, follow them on Facebook, or check out their website at tracksidenascaroutlet.com. Of course, another great partner of the league is Group 6. Rev up your brand's potential with Group 6 at every turn of the Doghouse Racing League season. As your creative marketing powerhouse, we're here to fuel your success, accelerate your impact, and steer your brand towards victory. Group 6, where every race is an opportunity to outshine and outperform. Discover more at group6inc.com. Of course, our great partner over at the Butt Kicker, which is an established and trusted leader in gaming haptics. The award-winning line of Butt Kicker products lets users feel low-frequency sounds. Their products are used and endorsed around the world by leading PC and console gamers, including professional sim racers. To check out the full line of Butt Kicker products and figure out what's right for you, visit thebuttkicker.com. And also our site over at intensityracing.com. If you're a small-time race team looking for some swag, get a quote today over at intensityracing.com. As we get ready to talk to our top three, starting with your third place finisher, driver of the 99 machine, Ken Byers. Ken, you got Josh up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you. You got me?
I got you loud and clear, man. What a race. You showed some speed there. Looks like you had a little issue there getting up into the wall. May have done a little damage to the car there in that middle of the run, but able to drive back up to a third place finish. Talk us through the race, because I know those cautions coming out early kind of really disrupted the way that the stage played out.
Yeah, I would have to say, honestly, after looking at the practice results, I thought I was like fourth fastest. I was like, I thought it wasn't gonna go very well. And the first stage, the first like 20 laps before the caution came out, I was just trying to work that bottom. I prefer the bottom over the top, especially at Kansas. I don't know why. I can't get the top going at Kansas. I prefer to feed on the bottom. So the caution came out. I don't know. I was kind of relieved that it came out, but I also didn't want it to come out. But I was like, okay, well, this is going to make fuel interesting. I finished the guy like 2 or 3 laps left. Yeah, I got in the wall a couple times, and that just, in this Gen 4 car, it's like it's like tinfoil. You hit the wall at all, it's like, it's done. So, it was first 2 hits were like okay, and then I hit it third time. I was like, okay, that's kind of it.
Yeah, you and Christopher Simon looked like you were going to shape up for a great battle there at the end, but like you said, catching the wall there kind of did you in. But man, a great finish for you regardless. Next week we're going to be moving over to Charlotte Motor Speedway, another fast quarter mile or mile and a half track. I like your chances next week at Charlotte.
Charlotte's been it's been a bit of a mixed bag for me. As far as like the in the official races, some have gone well, some have not. It's it's a fast, narrow track. I would say it's of the D-shaped ovals, it's one of the more difficult. Yeah, great racing tonight with everybody. That was really fun. It felt like we were all just going 100% every lap. I didn't feel like anybody was saving anything. Maybe they were, I don't know, but it was a lot of fun tonight.
Well, again, another podium for you here tonight, so a great run for you. Of course, Ken, before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to thank, any shots you got to give here tonight?
Just once again to you guys putting on the broadcast and taking the time out of your week to do this. I think you guys do a really, really good job. Thank you to everyone who puts on the racing league, and I look forward to this every single week, and we have a lot of fun. I tried the truck race the other night. That did not end very well, so I'm just going to stick to the Gen 4 car for now and just stick to that. But yeah, thank you guys for all you do.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congratulations on the third place finish. Good luck next week at Charlotte, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. All right, bye, Josh.
Have a great night.
You too.
So that was your third place finisher, Ken Byers. Let's bring in your second place finisher here tonight, Christopher Simon. Christopher, you got Josh up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Man, great run for you here tonight. Looks like you might have had something there for Jennings there towards the end. You started catching them, and then you both got up into the outside wall there with about 3 laps to go. Talk us through the race and what the strategy was to keep yourself up there tonight.
The main strategy for this race was just generally saving tires, but also like keeping up with the leaders. That's what I mainly did in that race. I saw them running the high side at the beginning, so I ran the high side, but while also trying to save those tires, not going too hard on the throttle there and all. And then later on in the run, I decided to run the bottom, and I looked like I saved more tires there than on the top on the high side. So I decided to run there, and I realized I was running the bottom way more better than I was running on the high side. So I just kept on running the bottom for a majority of the race, and I was gaining on Jennings at the end there because of that.
Yeah, I thought you might have had something for him there at the end, but man, coming home second, nothing wrong with that as well. Next week we move over to Charlotte Motor Speedway, another 1.5-mile track. How you like your chances there at the Quad Oval?
I like Charlotte. Like I'm looking forward to that race. I'm just gonna practice more over there because I think as Charlotte's like one of my favorites, but I like other ones as well, like this track right here, Kansas. But I practice more in Charlotte because Charlotte has been like it's been mixed bag for me right now. So if I get good enough practice in, I should be able to get a good finish there as well.
Well, those Shoney cars were showing some speed here tonight. So again, congratulations with the second place finisher here tonight, Christopher. And of course, before we let you go, anyone you got to thank? Any shouts you got to give here tonight?
Shout out to my family as always. They always watch these broadcasts on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Sundays. They always like to watch me race. Shout out to my teammates, Jennings, Chris, and Mike. We're always fun to race with. Always fun to race around with. Shout out to you guys for the broadcast. Always like to watch afterwards, and also when I have free time. And I want to thank the league, Daniel Wilkerson for the league. It's always fun racing with these guys. Always looking forward to these days. And shout out to the sponsors as well, because without them, this league wouldn't exist.
Awesome, man. Of course, I always got to give those sponsors a good shout out. And again, congrats on the second place here tonight. Good luck next week at Charlotte, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
There was Christopher Simon. Well, let's talk with our winner here tonight, Jonathan Jennings, as my screen goes black there. Let's see if I can get Jennings' car up here on the screen. John, you got Josh over the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Man, great run for you here tonight, getting the win. That's your 4th win in a row here in the Doghouse Racing League. Talk us through that race, man, because that track looked slick. It looked tough out there, and at one point I thought you almost threw it away there when you got up into the wall there with about 3 laps to go.
Yeah. Trying to keep Simon behind me was a handful there because he was really good. Which I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't have been too upset if he would have got by me. He's doing really good, so it would have been really deserving for him to take it from me.
It seemed like the yellow flags kind of threw a wrench in everybody's strategy there, coming to the stage. Did that kind of help you out at all? Because it looked like, again, the track looked really, really slick out there, and fresh tires seemed to be the big key.
I don't know. I got tight right before that caution come out, so that caution did help me. But then I had to figure out what I was doing wrong and how to fix it. So I started running the bottom a little bit, then I moved back up top, and then that late in that last one, I had to start using the seams to get the car to rotate, to keep my momentum going. Just using what I could to keep forward progress.
Well, awesome job again getting the win here tonight. Next week we move over to Charlotte Motor Speedway, another 1.5 miles. How do you like your chances there?
I love the track, but I'm not going to be there for that one. Nor Michigan, unfortunately. I got a graduation to go to next week, and I'll be going on vacation soon after. So I'll be back for the last one.
Well, padding those points up here tonight to make sure that you got the points going into the final race. That's an important thing for you as well. Well, Jonathan, of course, before I let you go here tonight, we want to congratulate you on your 4th win in a row. And before I let you go, anyone want to thank any shots you got to give here tonight?
Yeah, you guys for the broadcast. Daniel and all the admins for putting this stuff together. Teammates, they're really doing great. And all the sponsors of the league, the series sponsor, Trackside NASCAR Outlet, Tony's, Group 6, Auto Pros, and I know there's several others. Yeah, everyone that helps the league out. Really appreciate it.
Awesome, man. Well, again, congratulations on the win. Enjoy your couple weeks off with the vacation, and hopefully we'll talk to you again when you come back.
All right, man. Thank you.
Have a great night.
You too.
There's your race winner, Jonathan Jennings. We can guarantee the next 2 races will not be won by Jennings. Can anybody eat into that lead while he's gone? It's going to be interesting to find out. So tune in here next week as the Doghouse Racing League Trackside NASCAR Outlet Gen 4 Series takes on Charlotte Motor Speedway. Then we'll have the week off before we head off into Michigan and Nashville. So that's going to do it for us here tonight. Again, we want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight, whether you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, on Kick, or Twitch. Don't forget that like button, follow, and subscribe. Hit that little notification bell so you know anytime we go live here on Intensity Broadcasting, as our boy Atlee Atman Weiss would say, over and